Hello friends, a very warm welcome. This is Ishant on behalf of Auribises. I hope all of you are doing good. So guys, in my today's session, I'm gonna walk you through something known as Dart and Flutter. So I started my career majorly, as an application developer. So I did the Android application development for a long duration. So one of the challenges which I and my company used to face was that if there is any customer requirement for which we need to write an application and specifically to the mobile, right? So we need to find the solution for both the platforms, that's like Android and iOS for the demand in the market. So over the time, there were so many frameworks which came in so that we can write a hybrid app. So majorly it was like something like Ionic or a few more here and there, right? They got quite famous, but the challenge was they were just loading an HTML web page in your application. So performance issues, right? Nothing like native. So in the industry, we do have various frameworks available now by the help of which we can actually write a cross-platform kind of a hybrid app, right? Which runs very much similar to the native apps. So Flutter is one of the frameworks, right, which is launched by Google, and it truly solves the problem which we face, and it even gives us, kind of support where we can write our native programs at the same time. So it's a code walkthrough today, where we'll see how we can write a Flutter app, and we'll even see how Dart is quite inline to Java. So that's what I'm gonna kind of walk through to the Flutter and the Dart today. So it's gonna be a walkthrough on Flutter and Dart. So we'll see both of them, right? Few things here and there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use an IDE called Android Studio. So we'll see how we can, write a Flutter app with Android Studio. So it's gonna give me a very, a basic project structure to begin with, and we'll just see what exactly is the project structure. We'll not go through the entire project structure, but we'll have a very, quick introduction to the project structure. So thereafter, I'm gonna take up very basic kind of a use case here, right? Because many of you are not into Flutter as of now, but yes, so Dart is a different language now. So we already know what is C, C++, and Java, and we know something known as OOPS with respect to C++ and Java, right? So we're just gonna have a look onto the OOPS. So typically in the OOPS, what I'm gonna show you is the object construction in Java versus Dart, because this is the base fundamental that how we write any Flutter app. Okay, so in the Flutter, if you're gonna write application, so you have to be solid on your OOPS fundamental. Now in Flutter, anything in UI is basically a widget. So today we're gonna talk about the UI screens, and I'm gonna develop one login UI. So as an application developer, any application which you are going to write, so there will be an authentication module which will come in the very beginning, right? So we're gonna design one login UI. It's not gonna be a perfect implementation of the login flow. We're not going to kind of click on the button and take the user into the database and then come back to the home screen. Not like that, right? So I'm gonna give you a walkthrough on how you can write a login UI, and we'll see that any UI in Flutter can be done with the help of something known as widgets, right? So widgets are nothing, they are the UI components for your application, and they pretty much work as a tree, right? So they work as a tree. So we'll see as in when we advance. So let's start, right? So this is like much of talking now, right? But I just wanted to come up and give you what we are supposed to cover here. So we'll go to our Android Studio, I'm gonna say start a new Flutter project. Now guys, I have already installed the Flutter. I'm just considering that your Flutter installation is done. So if you haven't done it, so you can just get it onto the Flutter website very easily. It's the Flutter dev portal where you can get all those instructions. So I'm gonna say start a new Flutter project. So having this Flutter project, so you get multiple options to go through, right? So we'll choose this Flutter application. So you can even write a plugin or a package or a module for someone else to be used, right? So let's say you would like to write some sort of package or a module to be used by someone else. For example, right? Let's say that there is a payment gateway. So you want to write a payment gateway interface or the integration flow. So you can go with the other parts. So we're gonna choose Flutter application, and I'll say next. Now it says the project name. So if you have been already doing something like Android application, so it's gonna be very easy for you to understand that what exactly is here. So guys, Flutter underscore app is the name. So we're gonna just have this name as food delivery app. Now, if you'll notice, I'm just writing everything in lowercase. So let us try to see what happens when you go with the uppercase flow. So the moment we take down the app name through uppercase, you get an error, right? So this is basically a Dart package as well. And the Dart package, they are always in the lowercase. And of course, you cannot have a space, right? That's a perfect rule for an identifier. If I put a hyphen, it's not going to take that. So a Dart package is supposed to be always in the lowercase, and if you want a space, you should always use an underscore. That's it. So guys, then next comes the Flutter SDK path. Now if you have installed the Flutter, right? So this SDK path is the path where you have actually kept your Flutter. So this will not change over the period, right? And you can only upgrade this Flutter. You just need to give the path where you have kept your Flutter SDK. Then what is the project location? So I'm just gonna write it as, so in my downloads directory, there will be a folder called Flutter apps. In the Flutter apps, there will be this application called food delivery app, right? So very quickly, I'll just give a small description. Let's say food delivery application. Now I'll say next. So this is how we see the package name for your application. Guys, the package name is pretty much important here. So why is the package name important? Let's see that. So I'll go to the play.google.com. So when you go to the Google Play Store, you can look for some applications, right? So let's say we'll look for a very famous application called WhatsApp. My bad, just give me a moment. So in the WhatsApp Messenger, you see this ID in the URL, right? com.whatsapp. Let's search for Zomato. So what I see is this com.application.zomato, right? So typically the package names, they are the unique identifiers. They are the unique identifiers on your Google Play Store. So moving ahead, what package name you should choose? So typically the first two things are the company's domain name in the reverse order. So it's like com.auribises for me, right? So auribises.com is the website for the company. So you reverse it. So it becomes com.auribises. Now, why we are doing it? So that any project name should not collide. So this should always be unique on the Play Store. So if you actually look out for our company name here, Auribises, so you find a lot of applications here, right? Just for an instance, I'm going forward with this application called Hop Logistics. So what you will understand is that the ID is com.auribises.hop. Now, if there is any other application with the same name, So they will not collide. So this becomes the unique identity on the Google Play Store and also on the Apple App Store, right? So there we call it as bundle identifier. So this is pretty much important. So don't use this com.example. So you can use any relevant domain name or the domain name for the company with which you are working basically. So very quick introduction, right? That how you are going to write a new Flutter application. Now we'll say finish, and we'll wait for Flutter to basically create a project structure for us. So very quick and an easy way we are going to explore that how we're going to write an application. So yes, in the meanwhile, right, we'll just go here and say a dot tour. So you'll get to see that this Dart as programming language, right, guys? It is very easy when you go through this tour of Dart language. It's not that challenging. So this is the link. So Dart.dev, right? You will find the entire tour here. So if you know C++ or Java, right? So any of the language, Dart becomes really easy for you. So why is Dart easier for us? Because the language has the syntax which is quite known to us. It's not that challenging, right? So if you see, we got a main function. So it's just the main or the void main. It's up to you. So you want to put a void, you can put the void. So you want to write a number, you just say var number is assigned 42. So in my opinion, Dart is you can say a summary of C++, Java, and Python basically. So it's a combination of all three languages, kind of, right? So something from Python, something from Java, something from C++, right? That's how this guy works basically. So you say var number is assigned 42. We don't put the data type for any variable. We just say either it's a var or it's a const, right? It's so easy. So you execute the methods in the same way, the function in the same way. Correct? If you can see now, you pass the inputs with the data types. So it's not that kind of a fancy or a different language which you are all together seeing. So of course, to know that, you should have one preliminary language which you have already known. So let's come back. So this food delivery application is already done for us. So in the meanwhile, I'll just open up this Flutter apps. So you see this project structure which is created for us, food delivery app. And now what we see is there is an Android package and there is an iOS package. So your Android and iOS applications, they are taken care automatically, and whatever you are developing in the Dart, that becomes the library for your Android and iOS projects. So in the lib folder, what you see is this main.dart. So this is the file and this is the package in which you need to write your Flutter application programs. So guys, coming up here now, so let's have a project walkthrough. So we got this lib directory. This is the directory in which you are supposed to code, okay? And your program starts from the main function, right? So any Dart project will have this file called main.dart. So why this file is named as main.dart? Because here you will find that you got a main function, right? If you see now, very much similar to Java or C++. So how is this difference, right? So when it comes to C++, the input to the main was not mandatory, it was optional. I mean to say the int argc and the char star argv, right? The input which you used to mention in C++. At the same time, for Java, we used to write the string array args, the command line arguments, the string arguments. So in Dart, again, it's very optional. If you see the syntax, it's quite similar. And this guy is importing some package, right? It's not that a very difficult language. So as per the C++ oops and the Java oops, we got the class, the same terminology for the oops. So we use this extends keyword, which means it is basically inheritance structure, which we can see. At the same time, we even see the annotations from Java like @override. So you are overriding this a build function or the method from the stateless widget class. So when it comes to the language, this is very much similar to your Java. So don't get confused here, guys. Okay. So lib is the package in which you are supposed to, write your Dart specific application. So Android and iOS folders, they will be using this lib package so that your Flutter application can come up, right? But anyways, that we have a long story to go through as of now. Now, one more file which I would like to introduce to you guys, right? So guys, there is a file called this pubspec.yaml. If you see this pubspec.yaml file. Now, what exactly is this YAML? So guys, it's a data serialization language. You can say it's a configuration language. It's a configuration file for your application. So YAML is a configuration language. So we try to configure the project structure using this language called YAML, and the file is this pubspec.yaml. So pub is like what now? So pub is basically you can say a package or a library which is quite much into the Flutter terminology. Let me show you this. Flutter pubs. So we'll just see, or I'll just say Flutter package. Yeah. So what you see is this pub.dev, right? And I'm just gonna search for something known as Razorpay. Hit enter. So what we see is this, that there is a Razorpay library which is available for us, correct? So this is developed by one of our engineers, right? Dishant Mahajan. So if you want to use this payment gateway called Razorpay, or even maybe Paytm, which is more known to all of you, right? One of the more libraries developed by the same engineer. So guys, this library over here can be used into your project. You need not to code separately to have Paytm in your application. You can directly use this module, right? So these are known as pubs basically in Flutter, the libraries, the dependencies. So this pubspec.yaml file is going to have these dependencies. The very first dependency is the Flutter SDK, correct? Then there may be something known as some icons which you would like to use in your application. Then you got a very basic application name, what is the description of the app, right? So on and so forth. We're not going to discuss everything here, but I'm just going to tell you what exactly this YAML file is for. It's a configuration of your project. If you want to add any dependency, so you need to add dependencies here. All right. So let's come back to the main.dart now. Now the very first is how you write a Dart syntax, correct? So what we have been seeing is that there is this main function. So we know what main function will do, right? So main function is where your application will start, right? In the main function, you're having this execution of a function called run app, and here you're passing this my app object. Now let's see some more of the syntaxes here. Now there's a class called my app which is already created for us below. I'm not considering that code as of now, but we see how we can write the object. Okay, so I can say, I'll just write the Java syntax. I'll say my app, let's say some reference variable as a new my app. So what is this? This is known as object construction statement. So this object construction statement is quite similar to your Java part, right? It's not quite similar, it's exactly what we have it in Java. So how you can write it in Flutter? So in Flutter, I can even say where mref is a new of my app. So if you try to write this statement, now this is something with respect to Dart, right? So Dart supports the syntaxes for the Java. So this Java syntax works perfectly fine. This is the kind of Dart syntax. I can even say, let's say var mref is my app. So this is more convenient for me. You see, what we are doing is, so line number 6, the Java syntax, which Dart supports. Line number 7, the syntax with respect to Dart. Line number 8, more sophisticated syntax with respect to the Dart. So in the run app function, so in this run app function, so run app is what we got, a built-in function from the Dart. So we are importing this package called package called Flutter, and from the Flutter we got this material.dart, right? So these stateless and stateful widgets or the other UI components or the APIs, they are being imported from this package. So this is the style of importing in the Dart. So you pass this reference variable here. So what we see is the syntax is very much clear for us. It's not that challenging. So why to write these 2 lines of code where I can just, kind of write a single line and I can do the job for me. So this is like 1 line of code. So Dart works on more or less sophistication, writing minimalistic code for you. Okay, so you need not to write a lot of lines of code. So rather you write a sophisticated structure. So even this void main can be written as an expression. So let me show you what exactly I'm trying to put up here. So you say a void main function, you use this operator, and then you just say run app, and you mention the object my app. Now this is one more easier way of writing your main function, right? So we call this as expression. So just wrote your main function as expression. So typically this is kind of, a lambda expression majorly, so if you are aware of it. So your main function with the Dart way of representing the function, or the lambda way of representing the function, right? So this is pretty much about Dart, right, to begin with. So I'll just very quickly kind of remove all this part here. So this is quite built-in code structure. We'll see from the scratch what we need to do. Okay. So guys, we'll write a class called my app. This can be any name of your choice. And in Flutter, if you're going to write an application is all about your widgets. That's like the UI components, right? So let me try to even show you. Just give me a moment. I'll open up my paint. So consider you want to create an application, right? So your application is going to be a widget. So we'll say the widget is my app. All right. So this is the widget. Now Flutter sees your UI as widget tree. So you are trying to work as a tree data structure. Now there will be child of my app. Okay, so there's gonna be a child of my app. So this child of my app may be let's say a login screen. All right, so there may be a login screen which is the child. So there may be some another screen which can be the child here for the my app, right? And this may be let's say restaurant list. So there may be another UI. This guy is again a widget, right? So everything in Flutter you treat as a widget object. So you like to maintain something known as shopping cart or the food item cart. So we are trying to take up this. Zomato is a case study majorly. So what we got these widgets here. They are that kind of tree for us. We are representing a tree data structure here. Now this restaurant list, it may further have the children, right? So there may be a widget in the restaurant list. So for example, you would like to put an application bar. So what is an app bar? So where you get the title of your UI screen, right? And there may be another child called a list view, where you are going to display the list of restaurants, right? And list view can further have more children as its widgets. Right? So here you can have a lot of restaurants coming in. So Flutter UI development is majorly what it is, majorly a tree representation, right? It's a tree data structure typically. So we call it like a widget tree. So anytime you are going to have an application development in Flutter structure, so you should always understand anything in Flutter is always represented as widget, and widgets can have further children. So these widgets are nothing but they are the oops concepts. Either you write a widget or you use a built-in widget. So there are two different things. Okay. So let's come back and now try to write a widget. So I'm going to write this class my app. It's gonna be a widget. Now when it's gonna be a widget, so widget means a UI component. All right. So I'll just come up here. So widget means a UI component. Correct. So this is very simple for us. Anything on UI, if you want to represent, that has to be a widget. But further, what widgets are and what can be the examples? For example, a button. For example, a list view. There is a UI. There is a list of a lot of messages in your WhatsApp, right? So it's a list view basically. So you click on the buttons. You enter the data in the text fields, etc. Right? So there may be something like image. You would like to show a profile image, right? So that's like, so they are what? They are widgets. Now few of the widgets. So these are your example widgets. So few of the widgets, they are going to be stateful, and few of them are stateless, right? So we got stateless and stateful. So there's a more talk on stateless and stateful widgets, but I'll just give you a very quick introduction. Any UI component, you're gonna punch in the data. Let's say text field, you're gonna punch in the data. Okay, so it means that the data in the text field can vary. Sometimes you can write the name of the customer as John Watson. The other time you can write the name of the customer as Fiona. So these names, they will vary. The text field data will vary. So we need to have a stateful widget. So stateful widget is basically where we maintain the state of widget. So when I say maintain the state of widget, that is we maintain data of widget. So this is something which we should always remember. And when it comes to stateless, so we don't maintain. That's the only difference, right, guys? Maintain the state of the widget. So when I say state, so state typically means a data, right? For example, the data in the text field is supposed to be maintained. But if I have to show my application name, if I have to just display an application name, or if I have to just display a logo of my application, they will not change, right? They will always remain same. They're kind of constants for me. So you can consider they are what they are, basically stateless. They will not change the data in them. So we call them the stateless. So anyway around, right? If you wanna start your application development in Flutter, you always have to start by writing a stateless widget, which is kind of your you can say an application starting point. All right, so we will write a stateless widget. So this is a class, right? It's very a Java way of writing a class. Now the moment I wrote this my app, I get an error after the inheritance. Let's click on the arrow. It says create one missing override. So guys, in Java, there is a concept called abstract class. So what is an abstract class? If there is a method in an abstract class, which is an abstract method, of course, you have to override it at any cost, else you'll get an error. So that is what we are getting an error here. So stateless widget is an abstract class. So you need to override one of its method called build. Now build will be automatically executed. So whenever you will create the object of my app, so remember this concept here. So whenever we create object of my app, build will be executed and it will return a widget, right? So this widget will be displayed on the UI. Guys, it's very, very easy for us to understand. So a build function returns a widget. So what is build context? Guys, this is another API, but we're not going to discuss this as of now. We can just ignore it. So in the build widget, you need to write some widget. Let us come here and try to write the Java way, how we can go in and choose some built-in widget here. So there is a widget called material app. All right. So I'll write down this material app. So app is a new of material app. So this is quite pretty much easy for us to understand. So a new of material app. Now in the constructor of this class, I'm going to pass a title. So this title goes like let's say food delivery app. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna return down this app. So this is purely Java way of writing your structure. But Flutter says make it more easier. But even from here, I would like to just kind of do a small switch. Let us say that there is a class called person, right? It's a Java class, right? I mean to say very much similar to Java, right? So there's a name of a person and there's an age of a person. So how would you like to write a person constructor? So you will say that there is a name and there is an age. So we use this dot name as name and this dot age as age. I think this is very much clear to everyone that if you want to write an object in Java, so if you want to write a structure of an object in Java, you want to write a class, this is how it can be done. So Flutter gives us a very different way of write a constructor. So you got a constructor already written here, but Flutter says that the constructor can be written in a more easier way. So guys, how we can write a constructor in an easier way? So let's see that. So I'm going to come here and say the same person constructor, but this time I'm going to pass a map. So this map is a key value pair basically. So I'll say this dot name, comma, this dot age. So let us remove this constructor. So this was a traditional Java way of doing it. This is Dart way of doing the constructor, right? So this is both for Java and Dart, right? So if you're coming from the Java background, you understand that this is wonderful. And if you're coming from the C++ background, it's again the same story, right? The only thing is that you have to just use this pointer instead of this. So guys, now if I need to create a person object, so I'll say person pref is a new person. So Dart says you can now say name is John and the age is 20. So what wonderful concept you can see here. So it's a key value pair, right? So the key is name, the value is John. The key is age, the value is 20. So in the name goes the value John, in the age goes the value 20. So this dot name and this dot age here means the instance variables, right? So what are these? These are object slash instance variables. So pretty much introduction to Java, right? I hope you understood one of the syntaxes here. So one more way how I can write this person object, guys. So instead of saying this new person, what I can do is I can say a var called pref is a person object. So this is how typically Dart says make it more easier, right? So name is John and the age is 20. So this is the way how typically we write in the Dart syntax, right? So Dart, you can say it's a convention how we write the object structures, right? So Dart convention. In Java, you used to write it in this way, but in Dart we prefer in a different way, right? It's just a convention. So if you want to return a material app, so there's a way of writing it. So I need not to go ahead and do this. So I'll even comment on this part here. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just say return back a material app object. So I'll construct a material app object, right? And let the title of this app be a food delivery app. So guys, this is pretty much important, and you know, at the same time, it's very easy. So you are creating an object and you are returning it back rather than writing it in this way. So you are writing this as a different syntax. It's a different convention. But guys, believe me, this is more easier and more understandable when it comes to creating a lot of objects in our UI. Okay. So the next thing which I'm going to now put up is for your material app, right? So if I'm going to write a material app, so when I'm saying that this is a material app, it's a widget, right? Material app is a widget. It's the very first widget which I'm going to introduce to you people. So this widget is a kind of a home screen. So it's gonna have a title and it's gonna take us to one home screen at the same time, right? So I'll just very quickly come here and write one more class called homepage. Now this guy is again let's say a stateless protocol. I mean stateless widget, sorry. And when it's a stateless widget, so you'll always need to override one function called build, which is going to build a widget for you. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create an object of scaffold. So scaffold widget is one layout structure. All right. It is basically if you want to show the drawers in your application, the navigation drawers, or if you want to kind of build some Instagram bottom menu sheet, right? So we use this scaffold as a layout structure. So scaffold as an API is going to be a layout structure. So I'm gonna use this guy called scaffold as one of the widgets, right? Then I'm gonna use this widget called text. Let me use this text widget. So I'll say a text. So the text is a quote. So let's write the Java style first. So the data goes like be exceptional. This is what I believe in, being exceptional. So we got a text called quote where the data is be exceptional. I want another a guy called center as a widget. So this guy will ensure that any child widget in this widget should be coming in the center of your screen. All right. So I'll say a center as a new center. So you see, I'm writing all Java way of structure, right? So if you are very much aware of C+ and Java syntax, you won't find the Flutter that complicated or difficult right from here. So there is a child in the center, and that child is who? This guy is quote, right? So we understood that how we wrote this object-oriented programming structure here when we just explored this person class layout here. Now, lastly, I'm going to write a scaffold object, which is a new scaffold. So here, what I will do is I will say that there is a body of this scaffold, and the body is this center widget. That's it. So you can now return back the scaffold. So this is your Java, pretty much Java, right? But when it comes to Dart concept, so what we do is we just say, let's return a scaffold. You have to see here. I want to return a scaffold. All right. So this is something which I would like to return. But what is there in the body? In the body, there is supposed to be a center. Okay. So what is supposed to be there in the center? So this is your scaffold. In the body, there has to be a center. So what is supposed to be there in the center? There has to be a child, and that child is supposed to be a text. So guys, this is not that complicated, right? At the same time, you see a very easier approach how we can write, a Dart convention. You see, this is more convenient, more easier. You're not creating so many references in the memory to hold the objects. You're directly creating an object and returning it back. So you're returning the reference of this parent object called scaffold, right? So this is like a tree. So scaffold contains the center, center contains the text. I hope this is clear, guys. It's not that challenging. Now, what I can do, coming back to my project structure in the lib directory, I can even come here and say a new Dart file, right? So this is like my home. So I can shift this entire class home into this Dart file, right? So typically for your Flutter to work, so the package is material Dart. So Flutter is by default following this material design API. So any app you're going to write in Flutter, it's gonna follow this material design. So guys, here in this main.dart, I'll just quickly come and say import your home.dart. You see, this is how your typical import statement is gonna work. In the main, you're gonna consider the application by my app widget. In the my app widget, there is a material app which is going to be returned, but for your material app, there is a home page which is going to be the object of this home page. Now this is how your Dart's gonna work, guys, right? So whenever you will run the application, so there will be my app which will be executed, correct? And in the my app, so in the my app, you got a stateless widget which is going to return you a material app having a title as well as a home page. So home page is an object of this class home page. So the moment you create the object of class home page, so there will be a Flutter widget which will be built, and that widget is the scaffold which returns a text in the center, right? So let's run this application. So I'm just gonna hit run button. So I have this Android virtual device, the emulator already coming up here for us. Let us just wait for Flutter to finish the build. So initial build for the Flutter will take small amount of time because it's gonna do a lot of things here and there. It's gonna process your iOS app, it's gonna process your Android app, it's gonna process its own Dart packages here and there. So you need to be a bit patient when it comes to your first build. So in the meanwhile, right, so this application is going to be built up for us in the lib directory. I'm going to write this new Dart file. So this is going to be a login. So I'm going to write a login page here. So there is supposed to be a class called login page, which I'm going to write here. And yes, so if you are writing widgets in the Dart, so these widgets, the built-in widgets, they are from the material.dart package. I mean material.dart file from the Flutter package. This time, let us say we'll write one stateful widget. I'm not going to work on stateless widget. I'm going to work on stateful widget. So guys, for a stateful widget, this guy will again give us an error. Let us see what is that error bulb saying. It says create one missing override. Let us hit this missing override and see what it is going to give us. So this guy says not the build function, but this guy is executing a function called create state, which returns a state of type stateful widget. It means if you want to write a stateful widget, so stateful widget is the one where you have these more widgets in the tree. The data in them you would like to update, you would like to read, maintain, manipulate. So there we need this stateful widget, right? So anyway, we're not going to do any data thing here and there. This for us, the stateless widget will also do the same job for me, but I'm just going to take up this small introduction on stateful widget. Okay, so that's why I'm doing it. Okay, so our app is also ready. So if you see the Flutter application, the Flutter build which we gave in. So here we are exactly in the center. We got this be exceptional. You can see, guys, right? That's like the main application got executed and it returned this material app homepage. So the material app homepage returned back the scaffold for us, where in the scaffold you have the center and the text. Remember what is scaffold? Scaffold is a layout structure. It's a widget with the help of which you can have navigation drawers, bottom navigation sheets coming up here and there, right? So guys, what I'm gonna do is, the next thing is stateful widget for us. In the stateful widget, you'll always have this function called create state. So every widget is going to have a state, okay, if it is a stateful widget. So for the state, I'm going to write a class called underscore login state, or let's say a login page state. Now if you'll see, I used an underscore in front of the name, so Dart makes the things more easier for us. So what exactly is the easier thing for us? Login page state, if you write underscore in front of it, this guy becomes private. So private means you won't be able to access this login page state in your main.dart. I cannot use the private thing outside the file. That's what you need to understand here. So we need not to write a private keyword here. I need not to go and say a private keyword in front of class, right? So that will not provide us this private keyword. So you can just write an underscore. And if you are from the Python background, so the same underscore meant the same thing, but there, of course, we don't have these keywords. So the name mangling there, similar concept is implemented here. So that's how I told, right? It's a fusion of so many different languages for us. Dart. So the state is going to be a type, and this type is supposed to be login page. All right. Now the state object which you have created here, I mean the class which you have created here, so you get an error again. So you say create one missing override. Now you get the same method called build. So for my stateless widget, you build the widget directly. For a stateful widget, the widget will be built in the state, not in the stateful class itself, right? So there is a small difference. If you see the stateless widget, you build it right away. We are not maintaining any state, right? So it's just the kind of some UI which you would like to show. But in case of your when it comes to your stateful widget, you have to have a state of a widget and you have to build the widget in the state of it. And in the create state function, guys, in the create state function, I'm going to make it more simpler. Let us see how it can become more simpler. So this create state function, is supposed to return this login page state. So this is the return type of my function. I'm going to write it as an expression. So this is going to be an object of login state. So this is what I'm going to do here. So remember, underscore is private, and this is one simple expression rather than writing a method and then using it, right? More easier way, the lambda expression way of writing your function executions and function representations. So guys, now let's come in the login page state. So what I'm gonna do is I'm again gonna build a scaffold, but let's see what exactly you would like to draw here. So in my UI, I'm gonna use so many widgets for building a login. So the very first widget I will be using is a safe area, right? So there is a widget called yeah, of course. So we will start from the scaffold. In the scaffold, I'm gonna have something known as safe area. So what is this safe area widget? So nowadays we have full screen phones, right? So we don't have any hardware buttons. It's the entire LED screen which is filled up. So sometimes when we talk about especially let's say the iPhone X, so what you got is you got the rounded corners and the text may break. So we don't want the text on the content on the UI should break from the rounded corners, right? So we can have the safe area for all those rounded phones, the full screen phones. So there is going to be a UI screen, right? So I would like to have a text field, then another text field. So the first one may be the username, the second one may be the password. Then there may be let's say some two buttons. One may be proceed, one may be cancel. So proceed as in will take the UI, will authenticate the user and will take him to another screen. Thereafter, even what we can do is we can just put a small icon here on the login screen. We can put a small icon here, and here I can write my application name, right? So what are these? So guys, this is known as image as your widget. This is going to be text as widget. This is going to be a text field widget. This is again a text field widget. And these are what? These are your buttons, right? So when it comes to the buttons now, so Flutter gives us so many different widgets to create buttons, right? So button may be a normal or a regular button, and we can even have a button called raised button, or a flat button or raised button, right? So what I'll do is I'll use two of these widgets, flat button and a raised button. So we'll see as in when we'll advance, guys, right? We'll see as in when we'll advance. Now to create this row of buttons, so guys, I'll just use this a small highlighter here. So there will be these two buttons. I'm going to have them in a widget called button bar, right? And these everything over here is available in the safe area. So all of them is there in the safe area, and safe area is there in the scaffold widget. So the blue lines, they represent the widget tree. In the safe area, I'm going to have a list view. Let me put up this. So let me put it once again. In the login UI, I'll have a scaffold widget, which will contain a safe area. Safe area, you can even ignore if you want. You can directly have the list view as the child for the scaffold. But what I'm doing is I'm going to have the safe area for a reason that if you're using a rounded edged phones like the iPhone iPhone X, so the content on the UI may break on the rounded corner. We don't want that. We want it to be more better. Okay, so that's why the safe area widget is. List view contains the list of items in a you can say a vertical sequence. So the first list item is image, the second is the text, then the third is another text field, then a button bar containing two buttons, right? So this guy is button bar. Now, if you wanna give a you know, kind of this spacing here, so if you want to use spacing, there are so many different ways to do it. So there is one way by introducing a sized widget. So we call this guy as sized box basically, right? So I can just give this vertical distance through a sized box. So what list view will have? List view has a list of children. That is something which you need to understand, right? So list view has a list of children, and in which direction? In vertical direction by default, right? So by default, a list view is gonna have these list of children in the vertical direction. So let us very quickly come and write this Flutter UI for us, right? So guys, this is your Flutter tree, right? And this is what widget tree, right? And this is how you can actually write your Flutter UI with the help of widget tree information if you have the knowledge on it. So I'll very quickly start writing now the build function. So I'll directly write the Flutter convention. So I wanna return back the object called scaffold, right? So here we are. So I'm gonna return a scaffold. So scaffold is gonna have a body, and for the body, I'm gonna use something known as safe area. So safe area is going to have a child, and this child is this fellow called list view. I hope I'm doing the justice, right? If you can see here, you got a scaffold as a widget who's gonna have safe area. Safe area is gonna have a list view. So guys, we did a complete justice here. I hope so. So there's a body with the scaffold called safe area, and the safe area has a child called list view. Now, when it comes to the list view, so I'm gonna give a small padding. So guys, there's a difference between padding and margin, right? So margins are outside the border and padding is from the border, right? So you can just Google it if you are unaware of it. So there is an API called edge insets dot symmetric. So symmetric padding we are going to have in the horizontal direction. We got a padding of, let's say 24.0. So it's gonna take a floating point as an input, right? So if you don't know the meaning of padding, so I would suggest please explore padding versus margin. So you understand both, right? So you understand both what is padding and the margin in the UI. Then there is supposed to be a children. There is supposed to be a list of children. Now, if you are aware of Python syntax, this is nothing but the list. And if you are aware of Java collections framework, you got an array list or a linked list. Guys, this is what exactly it is. So the children here, which we are going to have, the type of children in the list view, they will be widgets only. All right, so we are just making sure that we're gonna have a widget. Now let's see what is there in the very first go. So what we are going to have in the very first go, right? So I don't want the image to be placed exactly in the top of my UI. So I want to give some, you know, gap here. I want to come up with some vertical gap here. So I want two vertical gaps majorly, right? So there may be even a third vertical gap here, and there may be a fourth vertical gap here as well if we want, right? It's totally up to us. It's totally up to us that do we want it or not. So for this vertical gap in my list view, the very first child over here is going to be a sized box. right? So guys, this size box comes with a height, and let's say it's gonna be some 100.0. So what is the size box, guys? It's a box with some specified size, right? So it's containing nothing. It's just an empty box. We are using it for the purpose of distance, right? And after this, I'm gonna have a children called column. The next child is column child for us, and the column child for us is again further going to have some children. So I hope you understand that we are writing a column here, right? So anytime you always work on type safety. So mention that the type is widget for the children. The list of children will again be the widget. Now I'll just have two things here: one image, one text. So two children here in the column, one image and one text. So my image, I have it in my downloads directory. So this is like food.png. If you see, this is one small image which I would like to use. So where to copy this image and how to use it. So I'm gonna come here and will create one new directory. Let us name this as assets. So here you are in the assets directory. I'm going to paste this food.png. So here we are, guys, right? In the assets directory, we got this food.png, and coming here in your YAML file, the pubspec.yaml, your project configuration, you need to include this asset in your Flutter package, right? So you need to just say assets, and it's gonna be an image called food.png. So guys, in the assets, right? So we got this food.png file, right, which is supposed to be included in your project. So you need to remember that. Now the folder name can be any name of your choice. It may be images, it may be icons. So you just need to write that folder name here slash the icon name. So remember, if you are using any asset for your project structure, you always need to have it in this manner. Now I can use it here in my login data. So the first child in this column, I'm going to create an image, right? So you already have a height of 100 pixels from the above, right? So I'll create an image here. So image a dot asset, right? So what is the name of the image? So from the assets, we're gonna have this food dot png. Then after this, I'll have one small size box again with the height. Let's say the height is 20 pixels. After the size box, I'm gonna write one small text, right? So what is this text? This is the text called food delivery app. So we sort of created this part here, okay? So we got an image, we got a text, we got a size box here, and we got a small size box in between image and text. So guys, I hope this part is clear. The scaffold contains a safe area, contains a list view. We got a padding for the list view, and there is a sized box to begin with, and we got a column where we have an image and a text, right? Two children here in the column. Now, once this column is finished, here, so we are going to continue in the list view. So I'm going to write another size box, but this time let's say the size box height is 120. So what is this size box here? So this one. So this guy is 120. So this guy we got as 100. So we got this fell over here as 100, and this fell over here as 120. Correct? So proceeding further here. So of the size box, I would like to have text field, right? I'm going to have two of my text fields. So let's write a text field. Now for the text field, there is a decoration. There's a variable called decoration. You can give that, and the decoration is supposed to be an input decoration. Again, the Flutter way of writing, right? So I'm gonna say that there is a variable called filled, which is true. So your text field will be filled with a background. There will be a color background. If you want to specify the color, with which color you would like to see the background, you can always come here and specify the fill color, right? So I'll use the built-in color. Let's say colors.cyan. So what is the label for this text field? The label for this text field is going to be, let's say, your username, right? Or you can just say enter username. It's up to you. So this is one text field which we created, right? So guys, we'll see what is meant by this field true. So after this text field, I'm going to write a small size box again. So we are containing a list view. We are creating a list view, right? So let's say the height of this guy is again 20.0. And after the size box, I'll create another text field. So this is another text field, okay? So here I'm not going to give a filled color, right? I'll just say filled is true. So this is like after the username, I'm looking forward to have a password from the user, right? So we'll say enter password. But we don't want the password to be shown to the user, right? I mean to say the password has to be obscure. So for that, your text field over here is going to have another property called obscure the text. So that's gonna be true. Yes, we don't want, we would like to have the stars coming for us, right? So this is for protecting password as stars, right? So you got these two text fields, right? And having these two text fields, we have them in the same, list view. So we have came across here. Now I need to write a button bar. In the button bar, there are two children, right? So we're gonna have a list of children. One may be a flat button, one may be a raised button. I'm just going to have it so that you can understand what is the difference between both of them. So let's have the next thing as the button bar, right? So after these two text fields in the list view, our last component, last widget is going to be the button bar. So in the button bar, so there are going to be children. So anytime there are children, you always make sure that the type is quite specified for us, right? So it's gonna be a list of widgets. So I'm going to have a flat button. So flat button is going to have one child, which is going to be a text. So on the button, you're gonna have a text. So this text is like, let's say, maybe proceed, right? So what do you wanna do on click of this button, right? So there may be this a function which you would like to execute on click of the button. So that's like your flat button. After the flat button, I'm gonna write one raised button for you guys. Same way, raised button gonna have a child called text. Guys, you see, now we understand the writing objects makes the things more easier in the Dart convention. So maybe this guy is cancel, and once again, right? So what you wanna do it on press of this fellow, you can have the event handling coming up here. So this is what we got, right? We got the exact UI widgets written here. So of course, in the Dart convention, it is a bit a different way of writing the structures, right? So coming to my main.dart. So the material app homepage is going to be, let's say, login page, right? So this guy, the login page here. So in the main, let us import login.dart, and we're gonna return back the login page. So now let's run the program and just hope that everything goes well for us. So if there will be any errors, we'll just look out for them. But hopefully Gradle is running the tasks. So do not get confused with respect to the syntactical approach here, guys, right? So the login.dart is not that challenging for us, okay? So you got scaffold, the area, the list view, and yes, of course, slowly and slowly when you get used to all these things, so this would look more easier for you. But remember, the key is very basic. You know Java way of object construction, you are done with it, right? So I have just explained how these things can be done. So as a part of your exercise, what you can try is you can actually try writing these same different objects the way you can express it in Java and see how it can be for you. So here we are, guys, right? A food delivery app. So you see this enter username. So over here, so if I just say john@example.com, so this is the background cyan, the filled true with the colors dot cyan. You can even use any other color combination. You can provide RGB values if you want. We have a special, we have a method to do that. So the another one is fill true. So it's a default color for the password. So I'll say password here, password 123. So what you can see is this is obscured for us, right? The security thing. So you got this proceed and cancel. So proceed is what in the button bar, a flat button, the iOS way of writing the UI, right? So this proceed button, flat button is basically from the iOS style, and this cancel button is a raise button from the Android style. So that's what we got this a UI screen, a very first login screen for your application, correct? So I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. In case you have do subscribe to our channel and do like us on the Facebook. Yes, guys, and one more announcement. So we got this small portal of ours. So starting this elearning.auribises.com. So we're gonna have live online trainings on the various courses. So as of now, I'm going to take down to Python, Java, and Flutter. So we're gonna add even more subjects in the upcoming time, right? I'm a programming language expert, and we're gonna relish the Python, Java, and the Flutter modules. So I'm gonna start this from the 8th June 2020, right? So this video may become old when it's 2021. So this is one small announcement. So if you wanna somehow explore the courses, you can register there. So it's gonna be me who's gonna train you guys on the live it's gonna be live online sessions, right? This is all about me, Ishan. Hello. So if you want, you can get yourself registered here for a Flutter course. So we got an entire course framework mentioned here, what we're gonna do, a lot of things to go ahead. So we're gonna have an application development along with the Flutter and the Firebase kind of a thing. So thank you so very much. So this is what we're gonna start new. It's gonna be an e-learning module, the live instructor-led modules. And thank you guys. Have a wonderful time ahead. Bye bye. Thank you.